I woke before sunrise with a smile on my face. Today was Lily's 8th birthday. For weeks, I had counted down the days. I quietly climbed out of bed so I wouldn't wake Sarah. The house was still dark. Perfect. I whispered, "Today's going to be special, princess." I carried colorful balloons into the living room and tied them around the windows. Then I hung pink streamers across the walls. By the time the sun peeked through the curtains, our home looked like a tiny party hall. I stepped back and grinned. She'll love this. Next came the kitchen. I mixed chocolate batter while humming Lily's favorite cartoon song. The smell filled the house. I checked the oven every few minutes like a nervous baker. Don't burn. Please don't burn. When the cake finally came out, I laughed. It actually looks good. I carefully spread chocolate frosting over every inch. Then I wrote, "Happy 8th birthday, Lily." The letters weren't perfect. Neither was I, but they were made with love. My phone buzzed. It was a message from my boss. "Need you today?" I smiled and typed back. "No chance. Today belongs to my daughter." Months of overtime had finally paid off. I walked into the garage and looked at the bicycle hiding beneath an old blanket. Bright blue. Exactly the one Lily had pointed at months ago. She had pressed her little hands against the store window. "Daddy, it's beautiful." "It is. Maybe one day. Maybe sooner than you think." I had skipped lunches. Worked weekends. Accepted every extra shift. Not because I had to. Because hearing her laugh was worth everything. I rolled the bicycle into the hallway and covered it with birthday paper. Surprise. A sleepy voice echoed upstairs. "Daddy." I hurried to the stairs. "Happy birthday." Lily ran into my arms. She hugged me tightly. "I'm 8. You sure are. Did the birthday fairy come?" "I think she did." Sarah walked downstairs, smiling softly. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Lily hugged her too. Then we spent the morning opening little presents, laughing, and eating pancakes shaped like hearts. Everything felt perfect. Exactly the kind of memory I wanted her to keep forever. That afternoon, our family gathered for dinner. Sarah's parents arrived first. Then my brother. Finally, Daniel walked through the front door, carrying a huge pink gift bag. "There she is," he said cheerfully. "Our birthday girl." Lily squealed. "Uncle Daniel." She ran past me and jumped into his arms. He spun her around. "I missed you." "I missed you too." I forced a smile. Kids loved fun uncles. That wasn't strange. Daniel handed her the gift. "Open mine later." She nodded excitedly. Sarah looked at him. "Thanks for coming. I wouldn't miss it." Dinner was loud. Everyone laughed. Stories filled the table. I watched Lily smile between bites of pizza. Every time she laughed, I felt proud. This was my family. After dinner, I carried out the cake. The candles flickered. Everyone started singing. "Happy birthday to you." Lily clapped happily. When the song ended, Sarah smiled. "Okay, sweetheart. Close your eyes and make a wish." Lily nodded. She shut her eyes. The room became quiet. I smiled, waiting to hear something about puppies or toys. Instead, she spoke softly. "I wish." She opened her eyes and looked straight at me. "I wish I had a new daddy like Uncle Daniel." Silence. Complete silence. The words crashed into me harder than any punch. I couldn't breathe. I stared at her. Maybe I had heard wrong. "Lily." She smiled innocently. "Uncle Daniel plays more." Nobody moved. I looked at Sarah. She lowered her eyes. She didn't say a word. Not one. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "Oh, Lily. You shouldn't." But then I saw it. Just for a second. The corner of his mouth lifted. A tiny smile. Gone almost instantly. My stomach twisted. My mother-in-law cleared her throat. Children say silly things. Nobody laughed. I forced myself to ask, "Princess, why would you wish that?" She tilted her head. "Mommy says Uncle Daniel understands us better." Sarah looked up quickly. "I never said." Lily interrupted. "You did. And you said Uncle Daniel would make everything easier." I felt the room spinning. I looked at Sarah again. She still wouldn't meet my eyes. I whispered, "Did you really say that?" She stayed silent. That silence answered everything. Lily reached for my hand. "Daddy." I wanted to smile. I wanted to tell her everything was okay. Instead, my voice broke. "Let's cut the cake." Nobody spoke while we ate. The laughter was gone. Even Lily sensed something was wrong. She quietly pushed frosting around her plate. Daniel stood. "I should get going. Thanks for inviting me." I watched him leave without saying goodbye. After everyone else finally went home, I stood alone in the dark living room. The balloons still floated near the ceiling. The birthday banner still hung proudly across the wall. The bicycle remained unopened beside the couch. It suddenly looked meaningless. Lily's words replayed again and again. I wish I had a new daddy like Uncle Daniel. An 8-year-old didn't invent that wish alone. Someone had planted it. Someone she trusted. Maybe love wasn't enough. Maybe while I had been working late to build our future, someone else had quietly rewritten my place inside my own family. For the first time in my life, I wondered if I was already losing the people I loved most. The house felt different after Lily's birthday. Nothing had changed, yet everything had. Every smile reminded me of her wish. Every quiet moment replayed her words inside my head. I wish I had a new daddy like Uncle Daniel. I tried telling myself she was only 8. Children repeated what they heard. They didn't understand the weight of their words. Still, every memory hurt. 3 days later, I picked Lily up from school. She climbed into the car with a huge grin. Daddy, hey princess. Guess what? What? Uncle Daniel says he's taking me to the amusement park soon. I forced a smile. Really? Yeah. She bounced happily in her seat. He always plans fun things. I started the car. Maybe we can all go together. She shook her head. No. He said just us. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. Oh. She looked at me innocently. You don't like rides anyway. I blinked. Who told you that? Mommy. But you've never asked me. She frowned. Really? I nodded. I love roller coasters. You do? Of course. She looked confused. I didn't know. Neither did I. Apparently, someone else had been writing my story for me. That evening, Sarah came home nearly an hour late. She dropped her purse onto the couch. Sorry. Work was crazy. I looked at her. Tough meeting. She nodded without looking at me. The longest one this month. I simply said, glad you're home. She smiled, but it never reached her eyes. The next afternoon, my sister Grace stopped by with coffee. She studied my face before speaking. You look exhausted. I feel exhausted. She sat beside me. Something happened. I stayed quiet. She sighed. This isn't about work. No. It's about Sarah. I looked down at my cup. Grace lowered her voice. I've been watching her. I frowned. What do you mean? She's different. How? Cold. Distracted. And every time Daniel's name comes up, she changes. I stayed silent. Grace touched my arm. I don't know what's happening, but something feels wrong. You should be careful. I swallowed hard. I don't want to accuse her without proof. She nodded. Good. Don't explode. Just pay attention. After she left, I couldn't stop thinking about her words. Pay attention. So I did. I noticed Sarah taking phone calls outside. Whenever I entered the room, she'd quickly end them. Wrong number. Every time. One evening her phone buzzed during dinner. She looked at the screen, then turned it face down. Everything okay? I asked. Just work. She answered too quickly. The next Saturday, I opened our closet while searching for a blanket. A shopping bag fell onto the floor. Inside was an expensive designer handbag. I picked it up carefully. It had never been there before. When Sarah walked in, I held it up. New purse. She froze. Oh, that. When did you buy it? Last month. Really? I don't remember seeing it. She laughed nervously. I forgot to use it. How much was it? It wasn't expensive. I looked at the brand. I knew it was expensive. Much more than we could comfortably afford. Okay. She smiled again. But this smile looked rehearsed. 2 days later, Lily and I stopped for ice cream after school. Chocolate for me. Strawberry for her. She happily kicked her legs beneath the table. Daddy. Yes. Can I ask something? Always. Why don't you make as much money as Uncle Daniel? The spoon slipped from my hand. What? She spoke as casually as if she were asking about the weather. Mommy says Uncle Daniel is more successful. I see. And he's more fun. I stared at my melting ice cream. Did Mommy really say that? She nodded. She says successful people can give better lives. I smiled the best I could. Do you believe that? She thought for a moment. I don't know. I just know Uncle Daniel buys lots of gifts. I reached across the table and held her little hand. Lily, can I tell you something? She nodded. Money can buy toys. It can buy vacations. It can even buy bicycles. Her eyes brightened. But money can't measure love. She looked at me carefully. It can't. No. If it could, every rich person would be happy. She stayed quiet. I worked extra shifts for months. You know why? So we could pay bills. I smiled softly. Partly. And because I wanted to surprise you. With what? I laughed gently. You'll understand someday. She squeezed my hand. I love you, Daddy. Those 4 words almost broke me. I love you too. More than anything. When we got home, Daniel's car was parked outside my house. Again, he stood on the porch laughing with Sarah. The moment they noticed me, the conversation stopped. Hey, Daniel said. I was just leaving. I nodded politely. Busy week. You could say that. He walked away without another word. I looked at Sarah. I thought you were running errands. I was. Daniel happened to stop by. What a coincidence. She folded her arms. Are you accusing me of something? I shook my head. No. I'm watching. She frowned. What does that mean? It means I'm finally paying attention. For the first time, I saw something flash across her face. Not guilt. Not anger. Fear. That single moment told me more than any argument ever could. The lies were small, but together, they were becoming impossible to ignore. The conversation I had feared finally came on a rainy Friday evening. Sarah stood across the living room with her hands folded. She wouldn't look at me. I think we need to talk. I already knew. Still, I nodded. I'm listening. She took a slow breath. I can't keep pretending anymore. I waited. I've fallen in love with Daniel. The words landed quietly. Somehow that made them hurt even more. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply asked, since when? I don't know. You do. She closed her eyes. It happened months ago. Before Lily's birthday? She stayed silent. Sarah. Yes. I laughed once. It wasn't happiness. So, when our daughter wished for another father, I never wanted that. But it happened. She lowered her head. I'm sorry. I looked around the room. The birthday decorations were gone. Only the tiny nail holes remained in the wall. Funny. Those lasted longer than my marriage. Sarah finally met my eyes. I deserve to be happy. I whispered. Didn't we promise to build happiness together? We tried. No. I tried. She flinched. I didn't plan this. But you accepted it. She didn't answer. A knock interrupted us. Daniel walked inside without waiting. He stopped when he saw us. Maybe I should come back. Sarah shook her head. No. It's fine. I looked at him. You already knew. He sighed. I didn't want to hurt you. You just wanted my wife. It's not like that. What is it like? Neither of them answered. The silence said enough. Sarah picked up a folder from the table. I've already spoken with a lawyer. She placed it in front of me. They're divorce papers. I stared at them. My hands wouldn't move. She spoke carefully. I don't want a long fight. I want this to stay peaceful. For Lily's sake. I almost smiled. For Lily's sake? Yes. That's what we're calling this. I don't want her caught between us. I opened the folder. Every page felt heavier than the last. Property. Custody. Signatures. The future of my family reduced to paper. Sarah's voice shook. Please don't make this harder. I think Lily will adjust. I looked at her. You've already decided that. I have. And you think Daniel will be a better father? She hesitated. I think he'll make her happy. I remembered Lily's birthday wish. I wish I had a new daddy like Uncle Daniel. Those words echoed again. Maybe Sarah was right. Maybe Lily already believed it. Maybe I was the only one still holding on. I picked up the pen. Sarah looked surprised. You're signing? I nodded. I'm tired. You aren't going to argue? What would be the point? She whispered. I expected a fight. I know. But I won't beg someone to stay. My hand trembled as I signed my name. Each letter felt like I was erasing part of myself. When I finished, I slid the papers back. There. Sarah stared at the signature. You can build the life you want. She blinked several times. I didn't think it would end like this. Neither did I. The front door opened again. Lily skipped inside after finishing dance class with Grace. Daddy. She hugged me tightly. For one beautiful second, I wanted to believe nothing had changed. Then she noticed the suitcases. Mommy. Sarah knelt beside her. Sweetheart. We're moving. Lily looked confused. For vacation? No. We're going to live somewhere else. She looked at Daniel. With Uncle Daniel? He smiled gently. Yes. She clapped happily. Really? Sarah nodded. We'll all be together. Lily turned toward me. Aren't you coming? I forced the biggest smile I could. No, princess. You'll stay here. Why? Because. My voice almost disappeared. Sometimes grown-ups have different paths. She hugged me again. I'll visit. I hope so. I promise. I'll keep every promise you make. She giggled. You're silly. Daniel picked up one of the suitcases. We should go. Lily grabbed his hand without thinking. Come on, Uncle Daniel. She looked back at me. Bye, Daddy. I waved. Bye, Princess. She ran outside laughing. She never saw the tears filling my eyes. Sarah stopped beside the door. I'm sorry. I nodded once. I know. Then she left. The front door closed. The engine started. The sound faded into the distance. I stood in complete silence. No tiny footsteps. No cartoons playing. No laughter from upstairs. Only the ticking clock. I walked into Lily's bedroom. Her stuffed rabbit still rested on the pillow. One pink hair ribbon lay beside it. I picked it up carefully. The room still smelled like strawberry shampoo. I sat on the edge of her bed. I love you, I whispered. Nobody answered. Hours passed before I finally walked downstairs. The house wasn't large, yet it had never felt so empty. I had spent years filling these rooms with love. Now every wall echoed with memories instead of voices. For the first time in my life, I understood that silence could be louder than any scream. And I had never felt more alone. I woke up expecting to hear Lily running through the hallway. Instead, I heard silence. I stared at the ceiling for several minutes. What am I supposed to do now? Nobody answered. I walked into the kitchen. Only one coffee cup waited on the counter. Only one plate. Only one chair needed pulling out. I made breakfast anyway. 2 bites later, I threw it away. Nothing tasted right anymore. Days blended together. I went to work. I came home. I sat on the couch. Sometimes I turned on the television just to hear another voice. Most nights I fell asleep without watching anything. One evening, Grace knocked on my door. I pretended not to hear. She knocked again. I know you're home. I sighed and opened it. What do you want? She walked inside carrying grocery bags. I brought dinner. I'm not hungry. That's funny. She opened my refrigerator. It looks hungry. I couldn't help smiling. There it is. What? Your smile. I thought you'd forgotten how. It won't last. That's okay. We'll practice. She cooked while I sat at the table. You've lost weight, she said. I'm fine. No. You're surviving. That's different. I rubbed my face. I don't know how to move forward. Grace placed a bowl in front of me. Then don't think about forever. Think about today. I don't even like today. She smiled. Then survive today. We'll worry about tomorrow later. I picked up my spoon. Forcing me to eat. Absolutely. You always were bossy. And you're welcome. For the first time in weeks, I finished an entire meal. The next afternoon, Michael called. Get dressed. Why? We're meeting. I'm tired. Too bad. An hour later, we sat in his office. He opened a folder. I've been looking at your career. I frowned. My career. You turned down 3 promotions. I wanted more time with my family. And now? I looked away. I don't have that family anymore. He leaned forward. You spent years putting everyone else first. I don't regret loving them. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking why you stopped loving yourself. His question stayed with me. He handed me another folder. This company still wants you. I thought that opportunity was gone. I called. They're hiring again. You deserve better. I don't know if I'm ready. You'll never be ready. Do it anyway. A week later, I accepted the promotion. The longer hours no longer scared me. There was nobody waiting at home. I also joined a small gym near my apartment. The first workout nearly destroyed me. I collapsed onto a bench. An older man laughed. First day? Is it that obvious? You look like you fought a bear. It feels like I did. He chuckled. It gets easier. Every morning became a little better. Not perfect, just better. On Saturday, I walked through the neighborhood park after my workout. An elderly man sat on a wooden bench, throwing crumbs to pigeons. He smiled without looking at me. They're greedy. The birds. They always want more. I laughed softly. I guess they're not alone. He pointed toward the empty space beside him. Sit. I did. I'm Henry. I'm Ethan. We watched the birds for several minutes. Finally, he asked, Who broke your heart? I blinked. Is it written on my face? No. It's written in your eyes. I sighed. My wife left. With another man. And my daughter went with her. He nodded slowly. I know that kind of pain. You do? My wife left me 40 years ago. I looked at him. What happened? She found someone richer. Were you angry? Oh, absolutely. What did you do? I begged. He smiled sadly. I embarrassed myself. Did it work? No. It only made me lose my pride too. I stayed quiet. Henry tossed another handful of crumbs. Do you know what I learned? What? Loving someone doesn't mean begging them to stay. I stared at the birds. If someone wants to leave, holding tighter only hurts both people. I still love them. I believe you. But love given freely is beautiful. Love demanded becomes a prison. His words settled deep inside me. I don't know who I am anymore. He smiled. Good. I frowned. Good. That means you finally get to find out. We both laughed. From that weekend on, I met Henry every Saturday. We fed birds. We talked. Sometimes we barely spoke at all. One morning he asked, "Who were you before you became a husband?" I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. I honestly didn't know. That answer bothered me all week. So I started remembering. I read books again. I played guitar. I hiked on Sunday mornings. I accepted projects at work that once frightened me. Little by little, my world stopped revolving around people who had chosen to leave. It began revolving around the person I had forgotten. Me. For the first time in years, I looked into the mirror and didn't see only a broken husband. I saw a man with another chance to build a life. This time, I promised myself I wouldn't lose who I was while loving someone else. 6 months passed after the divorce. People stopped asking how I was doing. Life moved on. So did I. Every morning started with the gym. Every afternoon ended with work. Every Saturday belonged to Grandpa Henry and the birds. Little by little, breathing became easier. One evening, Michael walked into my office with a grin. "I've got news." I looked up. "Good or bad?" "The best kind." He handed me an envelope. I opened it slowly. My eyes widened. "I got it." "You got it. The regional manager position is yours." I laughed for the first time in weeks. "I can't believe it." Michael patted my shoulder. "I can. You earned it." "Congratulations." "Thanks." "You were right." "About what?" "I needed to stop living in the past." He smiled. "I've been waiting for you to say that." Meanwhile, Sarah's social media seemed perfect. Grace showed me one picture during lunch. "Look." I sighed. "I'd rather not." "Just once." I looked anyway. Sarah stood beside Daniel with bright smiles. Lily laughed while holding a giant teddy bear. The caption read, "Our beautiful little family." I stared for a moment. "It looks perfect." Grace shook her head. "Pictures lie." "I hope you're right." "I know I am." A week later, I saw another photo. Family movie night. Then another. Weekend getaway. Then another. Best dad ever. Each picture looked happier than the last. Yet something felt strange. Lily's smile never reached her eyes. It reminded me of Sarah's smile during those final weeks of our marriage. Beautiful. Empty. One Saturday morning, Grandpa Henry noticed my silence. "You've been thinking too much." I saw pictures. He nodded. "And they look happy." Pictures freeze 1 second. They never show the hours before or after. I smiled. "You always make things sound simple." "They usually are. People make them complicated." Across town, life wasn't as perfect as those pictures suggested. I discovered that truth by accident. Emma called me one afternoon. Daniel's 16-year-old daughter had kept my number from before the divorce. "Mr. Ethan?" "Emma, can we talk?" "Of course." She hesitated. I'm worried about Lily." My heart skipped. "What happened?" "Nothing terrible. But Daniel gets angry a lot." I stayed quiet. "He buys gifts whenever he loses his temper. Then he thinks everything is fixed." "Does he hurt her?" "No. He just yells. And Lily gets scared." I closed my eyes. "Thank you for telling me. Please don't tell anyone I called." "I won't." Before hanging up, Emma whispered, "She misses you." Those 3 words stayed with me all day. A few days later, Grace phoned. I saw Sarah at the grocery store. How did she look? "Tired." "And Daniel?" "He spent the whole time complaining." "About what?" "Everything. The prices. The traffic. The weather." I remembered how patient he always acted around me. Apparently, that version of Daniel no longer existed. The following Friday, my phone rang during work. "Hello. Mr. Carter?" "Yes." "This is Mrs. Harris. Lily's teacher." My chest tightened. "Is Lily okay?" "She's healthy. But I'd like to speak with you." "When?" "If you have time today." "I'll be there." An hour later, I sat across from Mrs. Harris in her classroom. She smiled kindly. "Thank you for coming." "Of course." "What's wrong?" She opened a folder filled with drawings. "I've noticed something." She placed several pictures on the desk. Every drawing showed 3 people. Me, Sarah, Lily, our old house, our old dog, birthday balloons, picnics, Christmas mornings. Not a single picture included Daniel. I touched one gently. "She drew these?" Mrs. Harris nodded. "Almost every week." I swallowed hard. "Has she said anything?" "Very little. She used to be outgoing. Now she's quiet. She spends recess alone sometimes." I looked at another drawing. Tiny stick figures held hands beneath a bright yellow sun. One figure had the word Daddy written above it. Mrs. Harris spoke softly. Children often express feelings through art. I think Lily misses the life she lost. My throat tightened. I don't know what to do. Have you spoken with her? Not really. I've been trying to give her space. Mrs. Harris smiled gently. Sometimes children don't need space. They need permission. Permission to say they're hurting. I thanked her and slowly walked outside. I sat alone on a nearby bench. The afternoon breeze carried children's laughter across the playground. I looked at Lily's drawing again. She had wished for another father. She had believed another family would be happier. Now she spent her days drawing the family she had left behind. For the first time, I wondered if the birthday wish that shattered my heart had already become the greatest mistake my little girl had ever made. Rain hammered against my apartment windows. I sat on the couch reading a book Grandpa Henry had recommended when my phone suddenly rang. I glanced at the screen. Lily. A smile crossed my face before I answered. Hi, Princess. All I heard was crying. Lily. She tried to speak. Only sobs came out. I stood so quickly the book fell onto the floor. Lily, what's wrong? She struggled to breathe. Daddy, I'm here. Talk to me. More crying. Then I heard shouting in the background. A man's voice. Daniel. I told you to stay in your room. Lily whimpered. I'm sorry. My heart pounded. Lily, are you safe? She sniffled. I broke his watch. What happened? It fell. I didn't mean to. Another loud voice echoed through the phone. That watch cost more than you'll ever understand. Lily cried harder. I'm sorry. Then I heard Daniel again. You're not my responsibility. You never listen. I've had enough. My hands began shaking. Lily, listen to me. Where's your mom? She's crying too. Her tiny voice broke. Daddy. Yes, sweetheart. There was a long pause. Then she whispered the words that shattered me. Daddy, can I come home? Tears filled my eyes instantly. You never have to ask. I'm coming right now. I grabbed my keys without another thought. The rain blurred the windshield as I drove across town. Every red light felt like an hour. Please be okay. Please. I kept repeating it until I reached the house. The porch light was on. I hurried to the front door and knocked. A moment later, Sarah opened it. I barely recognized her. Dark circles rested beneath her eyes. Her shoulders sagged. She looked exhausted. She looked scared. Most of all, she looked ashamed. Ethan, where's Lily? She stepped aside without answering. I walked inside. Daniel appeared from the hallway. His face hardened. You can't just come in here. I looked straight at him. Watch me. He stepped closer. This is my house. I didn't move. And she's my daughter. He folded his arms. She broke an expensive watch. She needs to learn responsibility. I took one step forward. She's 8. She made a mistake. He scoffed. She's spoiled. Before I could answer, I heard tiny footsteps. Daddy. Lily ran down the hallway. She threw herself into my arms so hard we nearly lost our balance. She clung to me with both hands. I want to go home. I know. I held her tightly. I've got you. She buried her face against my chest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I gently brushed her hair back. For what? She couldn't stop crying. For my birthday. For wishing. Her voice disappeared into sobs. I wished for another daddy. I was wrong. So wrong. I felt my own tears falling. Princess. She shook her head. I hurt you. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I know. I'm sorry. She kept repeating those 2 words. Again. And again. And again. I knelt so we were eye to eye. Lily. She looked at me through tears. Listen carefully. She nodded. You never have to earn my love. She blinked. Never. Not by behaving perfectly. Not by saying the right things. Not by choosing me. I've always loved you. I always will. Her lip trembled. Even when I forgot you. I pulled her into another hug. You never stopped being my daughter. Not for 1 second. Even when you forgot. I never did. She cried even harder. I missed you. I missed you too. Behind us, Sarah quietly wiped away tears. I made a terrible mistake, she whispered. I looked at her. She couldn't even meet my eyes. I thought I was giving Lily a better life. I know. I was blind. Daniel sighed loudly. This is ridiculous. She's crying over nothing. Lily flinched the moment she heard his voice. I felt it. Her little body tensed in my arms. That was all I needed to know. I stood. I'm taking her home. Daniel stepped forward. You don't have full custody. Before I could answer, Sarah spoke. Let her go. Daniel turned toward her. What? I said let her go. Sarah's voice was shaking, but it was stronger than I had heard in months. She needs her father. Daniel stared at her. So that's it. She nodded slowly. Yes. He laughed bitterly. Fine. Take her. I don't care. Lily held my hand so tightly her fingers hurt. I welcomed every second of it. As we reached the front door, Sarah called softly. Lily. She turned. I'm sorry. Lily looked at her for a long moment. Then she quietly said, I just wanted my daddy. The rain had almost stopped. I carried Lily to my car because she refused to let go. She rested her head against my shoulder. Within minutes, she fell asleep, still holding my hand, still trusting me completely. As I drove home through the quiet streets, I realized something important. Love had never left our family. It had simply been buried beneath lies. Tonight, my little girl had finally found her way back to me. The morning after Lily came home, she refused to let go of my hand. Even while eating breakfast, even while watching cartoons, even while falling asleep on the couch beside me. Every few minutes, she looked up. Daddy, I'm here. You won't leave. Never. She smiled a little. For the first time in months, it reached her eyes. I hoped the hardest part was over. I was wrong. 2 days later, Sarah called. I need to see you. We met at a quiet coffee shop. She looked tired. I've been thinking. So have I. She folded her hands together. I can't change the custody agreement. I stared at her. What? I think Daniel deserves another chance. I couldn't believe what I had heard. Another chance. He lost his temper. He's sorry. I took a slow breath. Lily is terrified of him. I know. But people make mistakes. I leaned forward. So do parents. Our job is to protect our children from those mistakes. She looked away. I don't want another court battle. Neither do I. But I won't risk Lily's safety. She whispered, Please understand. I understand more than you think. I just don't agree. That afternoon, I met Michael. He closed his office door. Tell me everything. I explained the phone call. I explained Lily's fear. I explained Daniel's shouting. When I finished, Michael nodded. We're filing for primary custody. Do we have enough? We'll build the case. What do you need from me? Stay calm. I can do that. You'll have to. The courtroom isn't about anger. It's about evidence. Grace arrived an hour later carrying a thick folder. I've been busy. I raised an eyebrow. What's all this? Messages. Photos. Dates. Neighbors heard Daniel yelling. A teacher noticed changes in Lily. I wrote everything down. I looked at her. You did all this? She smiled. She's my niece. Of course I did. A few days later, Michael called again. Someone wants to speak with us. Who? Emma. Daniel's daughter walked into the office looking nervous. She sat quietly across from us. Michael smiled gently. Thank you for coming. Emma nodded. I don't want Lily to keep living like that. I asked softly, Are you sure? She looked down. If I testify, my dad will never forgive me. You don't have to do this. She looked up with tears in her eyes. I know, but Lily needs someone. I should have protected her sooner. I reached across the table. You're protecting her now. Emma wiped away a tear. I'll tell the truth. That's all anyone should ask. The first court hearing arrived faster than I expected. My stomach twisted as I walked inside. Michael whispered, Remember. Breathe. I nodded. I will. Sarah sat across the courtroom. Daniel sat beside her. He never looked at me. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The hearing began. Daniel's lawyer spoke first. My client regrets one emotional outburst. He has provided a loving home. I clenched my fists beneath the table. Michael quietly touched my arm. I relaxed. Then Lily's counselor testified. How has Lily been progressing? Michael asked. The counselor answered calmly. She's making progress. What has she shared? She felt afraid. She believed mistakes would make people stop loving her. Every word hurt. But I stayed silent. The judge listened carefully. Mrs. Harris spoke next. Lily became withdrawn. She often drew pictures of her previous family. She missed her father deeply. Then Emma walked to the witness stand. She looked frightened, but her voice never shook. My father yelled often. He thought buying presents fixed everything. Did Lily appear frightened? Michael asked. Yes. Many times. Daniel stared at the floor. For the first time, he had nothing to say. During a short break, Lily squeezed my hand. Daddy. Yes. I'm scared. I know. Did I do something wrong? My heart broke. I knelt beside her. No. None of this is your fault. Then why are we here? I smiled gently. Because grown-ups are trying to make better choices. She nodded slowly. I told my counselor everything. I'm proud of you. I cried. That's okay. I was embarrassed. I shook my head. Being honest takes courage. You were brave. She wrapped her arms around me. I don't want anyone else to be my daddy. I hugged her tightly. You never have to explain that again. When the afternoon session ended, the judge announced another hearing before making a final decision. Walking out of the courthouse, I realized something had changed. This fight wasn't about proving I was the better parent. It wasn't about punishing Sarah. It wasn't even about defeating Daniel. It was about protecting one little girl who had trusted the wrong adults. This time, I promised myself, the adults who truly loved her would finally earn that trust back. 3 weeks after the final hearing, my phone buzzed during lunch. Michael's name flashed across the screen. You need to see this. What happened? Turn on the news. I grabbed the remote in the break room. A reporter stood outside Daniel's office building. Behind her, employees carried boxes through the front doors. The headline filled the screen. Financial fraud investigation begins. I stared without speaking. Michael finally asked, You there? Yeah. It doesn't look good. What did he do? Fake contracts. Missing company funds. And apparently this isn't new. I slowly sat down. I didn't expect this. Neither did anyone else. That evening, Grace came over carrying her laptop. There's more. She opened several news articles. Former coworkers are speaking. I read the headlines one after another. Former manager describes years of manipulation. Employee claims Daniel took credit for team success. Investigation expands after new evidence. Grace looked at me. He fooled a lot of people. I know, but not forever. The following afternoon, Michael called again. I spoke with someone from Daniel's company. What did they say? He always blamed everyone else. He lied. He threatened people. And now nobody wants to protect him. I leaned back in my chair. So everything is falling apart. Pretty much. A week later, Sarah asked if we could meet. I agreed. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had left me. Her shoulders drooped. Her eyes were red. She quietly sat across from me. I was wrong. I didn't answer. She took a deep breath. I ignored every warning. I thought Daniel would give us an easier life. I listened. I believed success meant security. She laughed bitterly. I confused money with character. I remembered Lily's words from months ago. More successful. More fun. Those weren't her thoughts. They had never been. Sarah wiped away a tear. I lost everything. My marriage. My friends. My reputation. She looked at me. I even almost lost Lily. I spoke softly. You did. She nodded. I know. I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. There wasn't much left to say. She had already punished herself more than I ever could. As she stood to leave, she stopped. You must be happy. I frowned. Why would I be? Because everything happened exactly the way you warned me. I looked out the window. Cars passed quietly along the street. People laughed on the sidewalk. Life continued. Finally, I answered. I thought I'd feel satisfied. And I don't. She looked surprised. I just feel empty. She nodded once before walking away. That Saturday, I met Grandpa Henry at the park. He tossed breadcrumbs toward the pigeons. You've been carrying heavy thoughts. I guess I have. I told him everything. Daniel's investigation. Sarah's apology. The collapse of the perfect family they had tried to build. When I finished, Henry smiled gently. And how do you feel? I don't know. I expected revenge to feel better. He chuckled. Revenge is a strange thing. What do you mean? It usually ends long before healing begins. I looked at him. I waited months for karma. And now it's here. But it changed nothing. Henry nodded. Exactly. The person who keeps looking backward can never fully walk forward. I watched the birds gather around our feet. So what should I do? He pointed toward them. See those pigeons? They only fly when they let go of the ground. I laughed. That's one of your better lessons. I've had many years to practice. We sat quietly for a while. The breeze felt peaceful. For once, my thoughts were too. That evening, Lily helped me cook dinner. She accidentally dropped a glass onto the kitchen floor. It shattered into tiny pieces. She froze. I'm sorry. She looked terrified. I immediately knelt beside her. Did the glass hurt you? She blinked. No. Good. Then that's all that matters. She stared at me. You are not mad. I smiled. It's only a glass. We'll clean it together. She threw her arms around me. I love you, Daddy. I love you too. As we swept the broken pieces into the trash, I suddenly understood something. Months ago, Daniel's anger had made Lily believe mistakes destroyed love. Now she was learning the opposite. Love stayed. Glass broke. People failed. Life changed. But real love stayed. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I stood outside beneath the stars. Daniel had lost his career, his reputation, his carefully crafted image. Sarah had lost the future she believed she wanted. None of it brought me peace. Peace came from somewhere else. It came from realizing I no longer woke up thinking about Daniel. I no longer measured my happiness against his failures. He no longer controlled my emotions. He no longer controlled my future. For the first time since Lily's birthday, I wasn't surviving because someone else had changed. I was finally free because I had. 1 year passed faster than I expected. Life wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. Every morning, Lily and I ate breakfast together before school. Every evening, we talked about our day over dinner. Sometimes we laughed until our stomachs hurt. Sometimes we simply enjoyed the quiet. Either way, we were home. One Saturday morning, Lily ran into the kitchen. "Daddy." I looked up from my coffee. "What is it, princess?" She grinned. "You forgot." I pretended to think. "My keys." "No." "My wallet." She giggled. "No." "My favorite daughter?" "I'm your only daughter." "Exactly." I laughed. "So what did I forget?" "My birthday." I placed my hand over my heart. "Oh no. How could I?" She crossed her arms dramatically. I was beginning to worry. I smiled. "Good thing I already baked your cake." Her eyes widened. "You did? And I wrapped your presents." She threw her arms around me. "You're the best." "I've been practicing." This year's party was much smaller. No fancy decorations. No expensive entertainers. No giant gift tables. Just family. Grace arrived first carrying balloons. Michael brought pizza. Grandpa Henry carried a tiny flower pot. Lily looked confused. "A plant." Henry smiled. "It'll grow with you." She hugged him. "I love it." "You'll have to keep it alive." "I will. I promise." Mrs. Harris stopped by for a little while. Even Emma came with a small wrapped gift. Lily hugged her tightly. "I'm so happy you're here." Emma smiled. "I wouldn't miss it." The house felt warm. Not because of decorations. Because nobody was pretending. Every laugh was real. Every smile reached someone's eyes. As the afternoon passed, someone knocked on the front door. I opened it. Sarah stood there holding a small gift bag. She looked nervous. "Hi." "Hi. If this isn't a good time." I shook my head. "Lily will want to see you." She nodded quietly. When Lily spotted her mother, she smiled. "Mom." She hugged Sarah without hesitation. Sarah closed her eyes as she hugged her back. "I missed you." "I missed you too." The afternoon continued peacefully. Sarah stayed mostly quiet. She helped Grace set the table. She laughed softly at Michael's terrible jokes. For the first time in years, there was no tension. Only honesty. As everyone finished eating, Sarah walked over to me. "Can we talk?" I nodded. We stepped onto the back porch. She looked at the yard for a long moment. "I've practiced this conversation 100 times." "You don't have to." "No, I do." She faced me. "I'm sorry. I know I already said it. But I need to say it again. I hurt you. I hurt Lily. I believed the wrong things. I chose the wrong person." Tears filled her eyes. "I can't change any of that." I listened quietly. "I don't expect forgiveness. I only wanted you to know I finally understand." I took a slow breath. "I won't pretend the past didn't happen." She nodded. "It shouldn't." "But." She looked at me hopefully. "I don't want to carry that pain forever." A tear rolled down her cheek. "Thank you. We'll always be Lily's parents. She deserves peace." Sarah smiled through her tears. "So do you." Grace opened the back door. "Birthday people. We need you." We walked back inside together. The lights dimmed. The candles glowed across the chocolate cake. Everyone gathered around the table. Michael started singing first. Soon, everyone joined in. "Happy birthday to you." Lily laughed the entire song. When it ended, Grace smiled. "Okay, time for your wish." The room became quiet. My heart suddenly remembered another birthday. Another wish. Another silence. Lily closed her eyes. She stayed still for several seconds. Then she blew out every candle. Everyone clapped. She smiled brightly. I started cutting the cake when I felt small arms wrap around my waist. "Daddy." "Yes, princess." She hugged me tightly. So tight I could barely breathe. "I have to tell you something." "What is it?" She leaned close to my ear. I wished for only one thing. I smiled. "You know you're not supposed to tell me." I don't care. She whispered anyway. I wish to never lose my real daddy again. Everything around me disappeared. The laughter, the music, the conversations. All I could hear were those words. My eyes filled instantly. Tears slipped down my face before I could stop them. Lily looked worried. Did I say something wrong? I shook my head. No. You said everything right. I kissed the top of her head. I'll never leave you. I promise. She smiled. I know. That answer broke the last piece of sadness still hiding inside me. A year ago, I had cried because I thought I had lost my daughter forever. Tonight, I cried because she had found her way back. These weren't tears of heartbreak. They were tears of healing. For the first time in a very long time, our family wasn't perfect. It was simply real. And somehow, that made it more beautiful than anything I had ever dreamed of. Several months passed. Life settled into a quiet rhythm. Not every day was easy. Not every problem disappeared. But peace no longer felt impossible. Every morning, Lily ran downstairs with the same bright smile I remembered from years before. Daddy, I'm starving. I laughed. You say that every single morning. Because it's true. Pancakes again? She grinned. You already know the answer. I shook my head. I created a monster. She giggled. No, you created your daughter. Those words made every early morning worth it. One evening after dinner, Lily curled beside me on the couch. Daddy, yes. Do you know why I like sleeping here? Why? Because I always feel safe. I wrapped an arm around her. You always will. She smiled and closed her eyes. For a long moment, I simply listened to her breathing. That sound had become my greatest treasure. Sarah also changed. She never tried to erase the past. She accepted it. Whenever we met to discuss school events or birthdays, she spoke honestly. I was wrong. She never blamed Daniel anymore. She never blamed bad luck. She blamed her own choices. One afternoon she said quietly, "Thank you." For what? For letting Lily love both of us. I smiled gently. She deserves that. So do you. We were no longer husband and wife. But we finally learned how to be parents together. Emma became part of our lives too. Almost every weekend she visited. Lily waited by the window whenever Emma promised to come. She's here. Then both girls disappeared upstairs laughing. One Saturday, I heard Lily say, I've always wanted a big sister. Emma answered softly, I've always wanted someone who needed me. I smiled without interrupting. Sometimes families grew in unexpected ways. Daniel disappeared from all our lives. News about his legal troubles continued for a while. Then, eventually, nothing. For the first time, his name no longer mattered. One quiet Saturday morning, I arrived at the park carrying 2 bags of birdseed. Grandpa Henry wasn't on the bench. I waited. 10 minutes. Then 20. Finally, another elderly man approached me. You must be Ethan. I looked up. I am. I'm Henry's neighbor. My stomach tightened. He passed away peacefully 2 nights ago. The world suddenly became very still. He asked me to give you this. The man handed me a sealed envelope. With trembling hands, I opened it. Inside was one handwritten letter. It read, Dear Ethan, asterisk, if you're reading this, don't waste tears on an old man who lived a full life. Asterisk. I laughed through my tears. That sounded exactly like him. Asterisk. You've already learned the hardest lesson. Asterisk. Asterisk. Loving people is brave. Asterisk. Asterisk. Letting go is brave too. Asterisk. Asterisk. Never confuse forgiveness with saying the pain was acceptable. Asterisk. Asterisk. Forgiveness is the gift you give yourself when you decide someone else's mistakes will no longer control your future. Asterisk. Asterisk. Keep feeding the birds. Asterisk. Asterisk. Keep loving your daughter. Asterisk. Asterisk. And whenever life feels heavy, look toward tomorrow instead of yesterday. Asterisk. Your friend. Asterisk Henry. Asterisk. I folded the letter carefully. Thank you, I whispered. The pigeons gathered around my feet. Just like always, I scattered the birdseed with a smile. For you, Henry. That evening, Lily and I stood together in our backyard watching the sunset. Orange light stretched across the sky. She slipped her hand into mine. It's pretty. It is. After a quiet moment, she looked up at me. Daddy, yes. Do you remember my birthday wish a long time ago? I nodded slowly. I do. She frowned. I wish I could forget it. I gently squeezed her hand. You don't have to. Why not? Because it helped us learn. I hurt you. You were a little girl. I made a mistake. And mistakes teach us. She smiled faintly. My second wish was much better. I laughed. It certainly was. She leaned against my shoulder. I'm glad you're my dad. I'm the lucky one. We stood together until the sun disappeared below the trees. I thought about everything that had happened. One birthday wish had nearly destroyed my life. Another had quietly saved it. The difference wasn't the words. The difference was love finally finding its way home. As the evening breeze brushed across the yard, I made one silent promise. No matter how difficult tomorrow became, no matter how much life changed, no matter how many mistakes either of us made, I would never stop being the father my daughter finally understood she had always needed. And this time, neither of us would ever let go.